The Video Creator Show is brought to you by VidChops.com, an editing service that helps take the burden of editing off your back. Check out VidChops.com to see how you can save yourself tons of time and energy while taking your YouTube channel to the next level. Today, I'm speaking with Luther, webmaster of RobCosman.com and director for the Rob Cosman YouTube channel. Luther, how you doing today?
Doing great, Grant. It's a pleasure to speak to you and talk about all things YouTube.
Likewise. So, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do and how you are associated with Rob Cosman and who Rob Cosman even is, and yeah, all the cool stuff that you do.
Uh, well, our overarching business is a woodworking tool making business and a teaching organization, and that's called Rob Cosman Woodworking. Our site is robcosman.com. Rob Cosman is a master woodworker based out of Canada. I'm a retired military officer, and I retired out of the U.S. Army back in 2012. Decided to get into woodworking. Rob and I had a meeting. He became my woodworking mentor um, back in 2012, and we linked up. And one thing led to another. We became partners, and I basically told him, "Hey, your website needs a lot of work." And so I took over as webmaster, built the website up, just improving the website increased sales dramatically. And so the next thing is I looked at our fledgling YouTube channel and said, this has got to be, has a lot more potential, can be a lot better. So I said, I'm taking over the YouTube channel. Took that over about 2 years ago. And we have tripled subscribers and had a lot of success. And I'll talk about the details of that, of driving our business through our YouTube channel. And so that's where we are today, and it keeps me pretty busy.
Wow, that's fantastic. Tripling numbers is, I mean, that's always very impressive. So, yeah, why don't you walk us through how you went about doing that? So, you had this YouTube channel and website that you felt needed a lot of work and had a lot of potential. Tell us how, like, what it looked like before, and then how you took it to the after.
Yes, in fact, I just pulled up and kind of looked at the history before I came on the podcast. So, um, Rob was kind of a one man show. So in 2015, this is before Rob and I even met. Somebody told him he should be on YouTube. Well, so he really didn't understand YouTube and didn't do a lot of study. So he just shot a video and he posted it on YouTube. And that was the first video in 2015. And then you fast forward to that until I picked it up, which is in 2019. Uh, he got over the 100,000 subscriber mark, but he was doing none of the items that a really intuitive channel would do. He wasn't paying attention to content. He wasn't paying attention to thumbnails. Wasn't doing any research. Literally, what he was best described as, he was doing short advertisements for his tools that we make. And actually, I was very impressed. He was able to get up to 100,000 subscribers just putting those type of videos on an inconsistent basis up on his channel. So yeah, and so that's a little bit over 4 years he was able to achieve that. Then I took it over, and we really focused our YouTube channel and our production efforts, thumbnails, content, who we're going after, and in 14 months we were able to double that to 200,000 subscribers, and currently we're sitting about 275,000 subscribers, growing by about 4,000 subscribers a month. So that's kind of the timeline, and I'm sure we'll get into more detail about that. But that's kind of what happened. So although a successful channel, not nearly as successful as it could have been, and then we've changed it into really what it is today. When I took over and started paying attention to all the things you need to pay attention to if you really want to grow your channel.
Mhm. Okay, so it sounds like, as you said, it started as him just making advertisements for tools that he was selling. And like one thing I always like to tell people is if you're going to make a YouTube channel, you always want to make sure, like, before you start selling something, that you're offering things of value. Like, I'm sure his tools are of value, but more than that, you want to offer like information for free, things of that sort. So, were you like, hey, I'd recommend doing X, Y, and Z, like offering information and kind of teaching people like how to woodwork. Walk us through what changes specifically that you made to his content.
Yeah, and so let me take it in small chunks. Uh, so you are absolutely right, Grant. We really the channel was not what I would call content based. So if you're growing any community, which is what we want to create around our YouTube channel, is we want to create a community. And our YouTube channel, uh, the goal of it, in fact, we didn't have a goal. So when I took over, we talked about what do we want our YouTube channel to do, and in our case, we wanted our channel to expose Rob to the world, and we wanted if people find Rob, if woodworkers find Rob, uh, Rob gives them good content. They will then come to our website and they will purchase our tools. So our whole goal is to get Rob exposed to the content of on YouTube. So that's the first thing we did. So then that changed our entire uh, model of what goes in our YouTube. We go from advertising tools to just total woodworking content that shares knowledge and information, which then drives people who want that knowledge and information to find Rob. And you can see that in our subscriber numbers. Is that just that one change in content dramatically drives up viewership or subscribers. At the same time, you can look at our average viewers. So before we made the change, our average subscriber for a video is going to be in the 6,000 to 8,000 mark. And immediately, as soon as we changed over to really providing content that people wanted to watch, our average viewership jumps up to about 30,000 uh, per video. And then we start having lots of evergreen. I have probably, I'm pulling a number, probably 30 evergreen videos right now that just continue to climb. We have a couple over 1 million views, and that's within a span of about 2 years on the channel. So that one change going from advertising to make, and this is my mantra, make videos that people want to watch, not videos you want people to watch. And and so that drove me into developing our production, the way we produce things, because we are all separate. That's another interesting fact you may want to get into. We are physically separated. I'm on the West Coast. Rob and the camera guys are on the East Coast, and you might want to talk about the challenges of doing all of that separated. But uh, so we decided to come up with content, and of course, the very first content that people wanted to watch. So the very first thing was let's do the research to figure out what it is that woodworkers want to see. And of course, we were going up against and still go up against about 4 or 5 uh, similar channels in our niche that because we are hand tool woodworking, not really power tool woodworking. We're hand tool woodworking. So we had those guys that we were going up in our against in our niche. So we started doing the research to find out what it is people are searching for, and that's how we started making our content videos. And I'll leave it at that because there's a lot of expansion, a lot of roads we can go down from there.
Right. So, can you walk us through your research process? So, like, you're trying to figure out what content that people want to watch. What How exactly did you go about finding the kinds of videos that you felt would do well? Like, you have a video how to cut dovetails by hand with 1 million views. Clearly, it worked. So, yeah, walk us through that process.
Uh, so there's probably three pieces to it. The first piece is just being a hand tool woodworker. I mean, there's just basic things that every woodworker, hand tool woodworker, needs to know. There's lots of processes, and there's some major processes, and then each major process has a bunch of minute ones. So you have your own you have the woodworking content that you can draw from that you know about. So that's kind of like the basic start point. The second start point was then, okay, what of those things, what is it that people want to see? So I initially started doing research, just going on YouTube and doing some putting some basic search keywords, search terms in, and seeing how they're racking stacking. But very quickly, I went over and I researched the different platforms that are out there to help you do that research. I quit, and this is I'm not advertising, but I quickly gravitated toward Morning Fame, and I still use Morning Fame, and I'm a big advocate of Morning Fame. My two processes I really use are Morning Fame and TubeBuddy. Both are good. I prefer Morning Fame. I probably use Morning Fame for 90% of my research. I still do all of my research. It's just really super simple, and it was super easy for me when I was a very beginner to figure out what those keywords and titles and subjects are that people wanted to work. So as soon as I got Morning Fame, that really kind of rocketed my whole research. And from there, we were able then to rack and stack what it is people wanted to see, and that gave us a whole um, view of subjects when I could bounce that against the basic content that we knew about woodworking. And then the third piece is I'd go look at the other competition uh, in our niche, and I'd see what were their most successful videos they were publishing, and I wanted to go directly up against them because I wanted to go to places where people were watching. So you put all three of those in, and that's still today how I develop what's going to be the this next video we're going to make. What is its content going to be?
Mhm. So, can you talk a bit about how Morning Fame works exactly? Because analytics are super important, and I know YouTube has a lot of really useful analytics for people to kind of analyze what works and what doesn't. So, what exactly is the difference between Morning Fame and just the default YouTube analytics?
Um, Probably the biggest thing is just ease of use because the analytics are already baked in to Morning Fame, and from a beginner, it's just super. It's just really super easy. Uh, so when you go in to do let's do keyword research on Morning Fame, you once you have Morning Fame, you hit keyword research, and it's a 4-step process. So step one is you type in a keyword or a keyword phrase, and let's say I'm thinking about doing that one video, dovetails, how to cut how to cut handmade dovetails. So I'll type that into the keyword phrase, and immediately it'll give you a drop down with all related keywords or keyword phrases. So you select the phrase you want, you hit go, you'll go to the second step, and now it will Morning Fame will give you the analytical results of that keyword phrase, and more importantly, it'll give you a score. And the score is relative to your channel based upon the niche, and it will give you a green or red color. Uh, Green meaning this is a really good search term for your channel, for your niche at this time where your channel is relative to the subscribers and how much you're into your niche. And that will change as your channel grows. So, as your channel grows, you'll need better keywords to gain more audience if you want to keep. So, it gives you this red green button. It'll also give you a check mark. And the two check marks are this is a good search term for YouTube itself, and this is a good search term for presentation on a Google search. So now you can do both keyword research for YouTube for content and whether it's good for Google or not. And then it'll give you a sample of I get the top 20 videos that you'll be going up against, in that keyword, and it'll also give you the thumbnails of all those, so you can look at how people built those thumbnails. Because we'll get into thumbnails, and thumbnails are super important. And then so then you can go back and forth, and you can tweak it, and finally once you get it where you want it, and the numbers look good, then you can accept it, and then Morning Fame will go and help you build the title. It'll help you build the description, the tags, and the thumbnail and the comments and all that you want. So that 4-step process, 1, 2, 3, just the way it's formatted, is super easy. All the analytics are baked in, and it gives you the. I like red, green bubbles, check marks that are super easy. I don't have to interpret a lot of numbers, and it has worked for me, and I recommend it.
That sounds fantastic. Yeah, I've heard of it before, but this is the first kind of in-depth explanation of why you would use it over the basic YouTube Studio or vidIQ or TubeBuddy or anything like that. I'm definitely gonna look into this after this. I feel like I should have known about this a lot sooner, or at least looked into it a lot sooner. So you're selling me. You're definitely selling me. So once you started getting more views, I know you guys have a lot of live streams, and there's robcosman.com, and you guys sell things on there. So kind of once you started figuring out how to improve the YouTube channel, can you walk us through in what ways you monetized it? Because I assume you also kind of revamped that whole system. Obviously monetization is a super important aspect, so yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I guess I was lucky because, like I said, Rob had been playing around with the channel, and he was successful. He already had 100. He was over 100K and had his 100K award already, but that it took him a long time. So we were already monetized. We were already over the hump of monetization. But here's some things that maybe are unique about us, because we're not there to monetize or make money from our YouTube channel directly. We're all about getting people to see our YouTube and then come to our web page. And the web page is where we're making money. So we do no affiliate marketing. We do no in-stream advertisement. So we're not, and we don't have anything that you can buy on our YouTube channel. We want to be our strategy is to be nothing but woodworking. So when you come to us, you really like our channel. You're not bugged by all this secondary advertisement or anything else. You're just here just for content, and we believe that if I get you to watch one of my videos, I believe I'll have you. I believe that you'll come back, you'll subscribe to me, and you'll watch our videos time and time again. And on each video, at the I have chances for you to click to come over to our web channel, whether it's an in screen where I have a link, or Rob is using a tool that we make in a video, and I'll have a little card that'll pop up. I believe I'll get you to come to our channel, and that's where you'll spend your money. So, from a monetization standpoint, because our YouTube is to drive customers to our web channel, we really don't pay attention to any of the monetization. Although, we obviously make money off the secondary advertisement, just because of the nature of being monetized, which is nice, but we don't really pay attention to any of the other monetization stuff.
Okay, I got you. So yeah, monetization on YouTube is pretty secondary for you guys, which makes total sense. Yeah, like the way that most really big YouTubers make most of their money is through merch sales, and obviously you guys, you probably sell some merch, but you're selling woodworking tools and things of that nature. It's kind of the same idea. So how do you go about setting something up like this? It seems kind of complex to get all these tools together and ship them out. Like, how do you set up a business like this?
Important things: we don't sell any merch on YouTube. If you go to our channel, you won't find any merch like anything else. Again, we're just trying to be a pure woodworking channel. So you, we don't want you to think that while we are selling stuff, we're trying to get you to come to our website to buy things. We're not selling anything on YouTube. We want to be pure woodworking on YouTube, because we think if we're that way, you'll like us and you'll come to our channel. Um, so, uh, we are our business is robcosman.com, which I'm the website of our online e-commerce store. So that's what we are. We're an online e-commerce store. Our YouTube is really purely a way to advertise our e-commerce store. And so the more subscribers I, again, the more subscribers I can get, because we believe that if you're a woodworker and you come to our channel and find us, you'll be with us for a lifetime, because we're giving you great content, and pretty soon you'll want to make dovetails the way Rob cuts them, which means you'll want to use the tools that Rob uses, and so you'll come to our website and buy tools. Once you buy our tools, you'll love our tools and you'll stay with us for life. So that's kind of our cycle of a customer.
Hmm. Right on. Well, so as far as like setting up the website and getting all these tools ready to ship, like how do you go about setting up something like that? Like you clearly you need some kind of relationship with manufacturers, or yeah.
The e-commerce side. Okay, that's great. So we're a Shopify store. Most people have, Shopify is one of the big e-commerce giants. We really like. We're a small family shop. We have about 7 employees total. So we're on Shopify. Shopify takes care of all the back end of the e-commerce, taxes, all of that stuff. You can do a lot of analytical research with it. And initially, I built the e-commerce site. You can get a free template from Shopify. I built that. The key that I learned on building the website is pictures. It's all about quality pictures. Uh, and so you got to have a quality camera. You got to learn to take pictures, and pictures is all about lighting. So you have to worry about lighting. So once we got over that hump, we made a really good video channel. That's when Shopify channel, and that's when initially, as soon as I built the first Shopify page, our sales increased by 30%, and we're talking it went up from about 30,000 a year. It made uh, a 30% jump almost overnight, just because the website that we used to buy tools was uh, easier to navigate. So, and on our tools, about 50% of the tools are tools that we personally manufacture. They're custom made tools we make, and the other 50% of the tools are tools that other people manufacture that we sell. But we only sell tools that the master, Rob Cosman, that he uses in his daily woodworking. So we try to position ourselves as a premium hand tool woodworking stuff, that every tool has been tested personally by Rob. He doesn't like it, we don't sell it. So we're not a mega store of selling every tool out there. We've pre-selected every tool that we sell, or we're the guys custom making it. Eventually, I went and built another theme, and finally, I went and then had what we have now. If you go look at my robcosman.com, it's a professionally built uh, theme. And so the first theme increased by 30%. When I redid it, it increased by 30%. And then when I had the professionals do it, it increased by about 50%. So I think that answers your question.
Hmm. Yeah, totally. Okay, so you essentially built a Shopify store. You made the website more pretty to look at. You got these high quality pictures. You made it easier to navigate, and then you had the YouTube channel to kind of drive traffic there. Uh,
That's exactly our design of our whole system.
Gotcha. So I'm curious, like you had a career in the U.S. military, you retired, and then somehow you've figured out all of this YouTube and online stuff. It seems like kind of unrelated to me. You've done a fantastic job. I'm just kind of curious, like, do you feel like your career prepared you for this? Are you just someone who's great at learning new things? Because yeah, most people I talk to who they had a kind of unrelated career to YouTube or building a website, they end up like hiring somebody else to kind of teach them all these things. And you seem pretty self-taught. So how do you feel like you became prepared to do all this stuff?
Yeah, so I know zero code. I don't code at all. Um, my educational background is all business. So I'm a business
Mm,
I'm a business guy, And in the military, I'm 30 years in the military. You can look at the Army as a business because what you're doing is you're managing law. I mean, I'm an officer, retired as an '06, which is a full colonel, and at the upper echelon, I'm managing literally millions of dollars of funds. So a lot of working finances, a lot of logistics, working supply. So a lot of business related skills in the military translates, or a lot of military skills besides warfighting, translates into business. Working with people, leadership, all that kind of stuff. So those were baked into me when I came to robcosman.com and I met Rob. So probably the thing that helped me the most when you get specifically to, okay, how in the heck did you build a website on your own, and how did you do YouTube? Believe it or not, I will give credit to PowerPoint and Microsoft Word. Uh, the Army, you're pretty um, famous as an officer that you got to know how to use PowerPoint, to make presentations and slides and all that kind of stuff. And I have found that if you go to like a Shopify basic template, they're all set up for just a basic user. So all of those very basic PowerPoint skills just immediately transferred over as far as getting a picture, cropping a picture, moving a picture around, understanding how to change fonts. None of it was hard, and and people can certainly learn it on their own. But if you have any, I had all these 30 years worth of building PowerPoint slides, and it seemed to transfer over naturally. In fact, I still use PowerPoint to build my thumbnails for YouTube because I'm a power user in PowerPoint. And in my I mean PowerPoint's super simple, but if you know it, then you can move really fast in it and you can do a lot of stuff. So that's kind of it. I don't think there's a big secret to it.
Yeah, I mean, let that be a lesson to the people listening. If you feel like your skills are unrelated to YouTube or building websites, I think you would be surprised, like what exactly translates if you're willing to kind of be open minded, which clearly you are very open minded. And how exactly did you meet Rob?
I was well, like I said, I retired from the Army. I always wanted to do woodworking, and so I took a woodworking course, how to hand cut dovetails at a local woodcraft store that he was teaching at for the weekend. And Rob and I, and so I loved the course, and Rob and I during that course just personally hit it off. We just became really good friends to that course, and he invited me to come to a more in-depth course that he taught. So I took a lot of training from him. He then kind of took me on as his personal uh, apprentice or mentor, and I did that for several years until I really improved my woodworking skills. And then I started looking, because I was so close to him. I started looking at his business side of stuff. So with my business background, and Rob was kind of the quintessential craftsman artist, but not so much skills on the business side. And some very obvious stuff. I said, let me help you with this, this, this. That's how I got into Shopify. And then it's like, I didn't know anything about YouTube, but I wasn't intimidated by it. I thought it would be pretty easy. I mean, because YouTube makes it very easy for just a beginner to do it. So I said, let me take on your YouTube channel. I did have to go do some study, and I took a online course from uh, uh, Johnson. I can't remember what his first name is. Online, I think I paid $50 for it, and it kind of gave me the basics. I did some reading, and I was off and running. Practiced making some thumbnails, and I'm doing the same things that I taught myself just through some basic research. I'm still doing those same exact things today, which you may want to get into what those things are for successful YouTube video.
Yeah, sure. Why don't you walk us through like the main things that contribute to a YouTube video or YouTube channel's success?
Yeah, so I've already talked about make videos that people want to watch, not videos that you want people to watch, and how you got to do keyword or keyword phrase research to figure out what that is. And I will say that the as you get bigger and bigger and bigger, that gets less important because you have so many subscribers and you have and I track my loyal subscribers, which I do through Morning Fame. It lets me track all that stuff really easy. Once you get really loyal subscribers, no matter what you put out, your loyal subscribers will start to watch it, which will trigger the algorithm to advertise your video. So as you get big, you can, even though I still do keyword research, it's not nearly as important as when you're first starting out. So the next thing is is content. And so what we do now, which is almost exactly what we started out doing, is um, we want people uh, uh, to click on our videos. So thumbnail and title is tremendously important. So let's talk about thumbnail. So uh, I tell or advise other YouTubers that are out there, your video is like one fish in the entire ocean, and people have to find your video, and so you're going to get, you can watch these statistics in YouTube. They're going to get impressions of your video by when YouTube presents that video as a recommended video, which I don't know the numbers, but almost all of my hits come from recommended videos versus search or Google. That recommended videos where it's at. So, uh, a person has about 1 second to see your thumbnail. So your thumbnail's got to stand out from everything else. And I made a lot of mistakes initially on thumbnail. So where I am now is one, I want my thumbnail to be instantly recognizable as a Rob Cosman thumbnail. So I have a theme in all my thumbnails, and that's the color palette that I use for the thumbnail. And it's actually a a purple fading to dark on the sliding scale. There is nobody else that has a similar palette to their thumbnail other than that. So if you watch me once, you can instantly identify my thumbnail. If you stack my thumbnail up against 20 thumbnails, my thumbnail or our thumbnail will look tremendously different than everybody else's thumbnail, because most people will just take a picture, even a really good picture, and put some text on it. So all their pictures for all their thumbnails are different. My thumbnails have an instantly recognizable theme to them, so you know they're Rob Cosman. I then played around with the font of the text that I use on the thumbnails, and it took me a while to find a good font. And I use a bold Gothic font right now, and I played around with the color palette. So my color of my text, if you look on a color wheel, is yellow, which is opposite on the color wheel, almost exactly opposite of where you would find the purplish color. So I outlined that yellow font with a small thread of black, so it really pops on the thumbnail. So and then I'm going to overlay text on that purple. I'm going to overlay text and a related picture to the video, so you instantly can look at it and get an idea of what this video is about. I limit my text to no more than 5 words, and I prefer 3. So I want really big, bold words. So even if you're looking at this thumbnail on a let's say a cell phone, you can read the words on my thumbnail, and those words have to be enticing. I like questions like, can you cut this good of a dovetail, or are your dovetails like this? Do you want to know how to do dovetails? And those are actually a little bit longer than I would do, but I'm you can see all those are questions. And so I'm trying to like, well, yeah, sure, I want to know that. Therefore, I'm going to click on this thumbnail. So, and then I'll put a nice picture, and getting a nice picture, and I had to learn how to do picture cutouts, which is important because you got to have a good photo software to do that. I use a really simple photo software because I like simple stuff. Uh, uh, Canva does it. You can do it in Canva. I don't use Canva. I use Photoshop, not Photoshop. I use Photo Pro. Um, but I now take pictures and I take cutouts of those pictures and I place them on that thumbnail. So I have simple, bold thumbnails with very little word that you can't, and they all look very similar, so you can detect ours. So if you have 1 second to see it, you can see ours. And so that's thumbnails. So that's number one. Questions on thumbnails at all?
That makes sense to me, and like you've done a fantastic job. So the idea of having the background contrast with the text, you have this purple gradient and then this yellow text, and this works really well, clearly. And as you said, it's really obvious, like immediately obvious, subconsciously so, when a thumbnail is a Rob Cosman one. And I think this is a really important thing that like people should understand is that when you have a color scheme that is immediately identifiable, then your audience is, they always know that it's you. And this might sound kind of trivial, but as you said, the like your video is only one fish in ocean, and like you're essentially trying to appeal to people on a subconscious level. Like you're like, yes, if you look closely at every thumbnail, you'll be able to tell, like, oh, this is this channel, it's that channel, and obviously YouTube tells you what channel everything is. But you're kind of taking everything in when you're scrolling through YouTube. You're taking it in subconsciously. So the fact that you organize things like this, as you said, like, is very powerful and it works very well. So and the idea again of having like the foreground or the text contrasting with the background where it's the opposite on a color wheel, like if people Google a color wheel, you can kind of look at what color is opposite any other color. You always want to have a thumbnail that is kind of using that theory. And yeah, like you've really hit the nail on the head here, and I think you've done a great job.
Yeah, the one of the challenges for us is if you can listen to a lot of pundits on YouTube, and they'll always tell you it's better to put a face on your thumbnail, right? And you'll see that I have very few faces. That is only because Rob doesn't take a good facial picture. So he doesn't. We've tried and tried, and he just the face features just he doesn't take a good facial picture, and he certainly can't make interesting. So I tend to put a picture that's related to the subject. Like if you looked at our how to cut dovetail thumbnail, it's going to have a picture of a hand cut dovetail on it. So I want to I call it I want to win the click. So if you don't win the click, you'll never get anybody to watch your video. So you got to win the click first of all. Now you can't do clickbait because soon as a subscribe or a customer clicks on your thumbnail because you said in your thumbnail you gave them a picture that's a clue about what your video is about, or you gave them a title which was a clue about your thumbnail about your video, excuse me, and you gave them maybe some words in the thumbnail that was a clue to what that video is about. When they click on that thumbnail, you win the click. They're going to come to your video, and in the first 15 seconds, you need to confirm to them that they're getting in content what they think they're getting. So I call it the first 15 seconds. And the first 15 seconds of the video is always in our production, it's Rob, and he's giving a quick 15-second summary pitch of what this video is about because I want that viewer to I want to win the click, and then I want him to go for say he clicks on how to cut hand cut dovetails. He's probably going to see Rob going, "Hey, welcome to my channel. In this channel, I'm going to teach you my method of cutting hand cut dovetails, and it's going to be easy. So stay with us." So immediately you've got feedback that you're getting what I promised to get you because the easiest way to have someone bounce off your video is you had a thumbnail and you told them it's about dovetails, but when you get there, I'm trying to sell you a saw or something. And that's going to turn you off and cause you to bounce. So that first 15 seconds is always a summary and confirming what this video is about. I do that. Then we go into a 5-second standardized it's a screen that we have that's just our mantra screen, and then we go into the way we set up our content. So our content is almost always going to be we're going to have an opening, and that's going to be more of a longer version of the summary. Rob's going to talk about here's what we're going to make today. I'm going to show you how to do this. These are the key pieces of it, and then I'll break that content down to its various pieces, and we'll film that. Uh, and that's going to be the video. Now the key about the video is we got to keep that video within a time frame that viewers want to watch. And over a lot of testing for my content, we want to keep our timeline between 15 and 30 minutes, and 20 to 23 works best for us. And uh, I've tried 5-minute videos, I've tried 35. That's just the sweet spot for the audience who watches our videos. So then editing becomes super important, because we'll take the raw footage that's designed the way I just told it, and we will edit it. And what I do in editing is I don't want to give a viewer any chance to bounce off my video because it's boring. So I got to make sure I have no dead space, and I want to. People want like like the facts, ma'am, just the facts. They want to go on. They don't want it to linger. So I do editing such that I'm never giving someone a chance to get bored on my video, and I'm trying to get it within that sweet spot of about 20 to 23 minutes. Um, and that's probably my entire mantra. And I use that at the beginning, and I still use that today. It's is develop the video that people want to watch, not videos that you want them to watch. A great thumbnail that's instantly recognizable. First 15 seconds, so confirm that the viewer's getting what he thinks he's getting, and then I edit the rest of the video so it doesn't give anyone a chance to get bored and drop off my video.
Mhm. Right on. This is all brilliant stuff, and clearly it's working very well. A lot of this is advice I give other YouTubers as well. This is all very tried and true stuff. So kudos to you for figuring this out. And clearly, this channel would not be what it is without you. I think often when people look at a YouTube channel, they see the kind of main face of the channel and they don't really understand all that goes on the back end. So somebody like you is crucial, who is kind of looking at things from a different perspective as Rob. Obviously, he's in front of the camera, kind of rallying the people around the channel, and that's a crucial job as well. But yeah, having somebody who really understands all this stuff and is able to apply it and just sees things differently than perhaps the main face of the channel is really essential. Actually, the my roommate and good friend, he essentially has the same job that you do for a totally different channel. It's for an anime channel. But yeah, he's kind of more the back end guy, but he's nevertheless crucial to the success of the channel. So just want to throw that out there for people that maybe if you're trying to start your own channel. And you just kind of feel like you're more of a front facing person, maybe you could look for a business partner who is they have a bit of a different mind than you, and that could be extremely helpful.
Yeah, I now I advise. And when I was going to say a lot of channels, I give my advice out freely to a lot of starting YouTube channels. So I have lots of friends, and a lot of people contact us on our support channel, and they make their way to me and they ask me YouTube questions. So I always give away everything for free. I'm not a YouTube guru that's charging for any of this, but most of them are beginning YouTubers, and they're doing everything themselves. And as you get bigger, it does get more difficult to do everything yourself. But here are a couple of things that the new YouTubers don't understand relative to making the video. If you want to talk about that real quick.
Sure, yeah, go for it.
So lighting and audio are key. So I just think back to one of the woodworkers who started his own woodworking channel and came to me, and he's literally filming on a tripod in his garage, which is fine. I call it a talking head video. Um, but I looked at his first video, and his lighting was atrocious. It was dark. It was dingy. It was like he was in a cave. So it's like, you have got to get nice, bright, good lighting, and a good light doesn't cost a lot of money. I mean, you don't have to buy some professional. You just need good, bright. Like we use 5,000 lumen LEDs, in our video area, and those are really inexpensive to purchase. So lighting is key, and audio is key. You've got to have good audio because as soon as someone comes on your video, if you start, they're going to hear your audio, and if your audio is not good, they're going to bounce off. And you don't need $1,000 mic, and you can easily purchase a really decent sounding mic for 30, $40 on Amazon or something. The mics we use now are we use Rode mics, which are really high end now. Uh, but we didn't in the very beginning. And we only use those because you don't want to see these wires on your video. But you need good audio, and you need good lighting. Would be my two biggest things outside of what I've already said: the editing, the thumbnail, the content, and the design.
Mhm. Yep, great advice. Absolutely. So you've talked a lot about how to make a good video. You've talked about how to build the back end, like how to make a website that people want to purchase things from and successfully sell. In this case, woodworking tools. Can you walk us through how like your best advice for building a dedicated audience? So there's kind of a difference between what you talked about where you're getting people to click and you're sort of appealing to the masses, and then there's this kind of other thing where you want dedicated uh audience members.
Yeah, that's a great question, and the one of the first things is how do you even measure that? Again, Morning Fame does a great job of that, and I find for us, and we're sitting at 275,000 subscribers, only about 5 to 6% of those are are hardcore are hardcore viewers defined as people who will watch at least every other video we put out, and those guys are important because they're the ones that will trigger the algorithm because as soon as you put a video out, you'll trigger the algorithm. They'll say all these guys will watch it, all these viewers will watch it, and the algorithm will go, "Oh, this is a new video, and oh, look, it's popular." All these guys instantly, so now they'll start to recommend it, and more people will watch it, and it gets that snowball effect a lot faster. So how do you get those guys? So I my my solution is comments. So on the comments of my video, for the first 48 hours after posting the video, I answer every comment, and I try to answer it as quickly as I can. I try to answer it with something more than thank you, and have an actual conversation with those folks. And it's the same. It's for the most part, it's your kind of your hardcore subscribers that will respond to you in comments. So I'm back to making that community. Remember, we talked at the very beginning, it's all about creating this community that comes to your channel. Well, I'm creating a community by answering their comments and such in such a way that we'll have conversations back and forth. So I spend a lot of time post publishing answering comments. Um, and then at the same on my YouTube channel under my community tab, every time that I publish a video, I'll go to the community tab and I'll post it up there and say, "Hey, folks, I just put this brand new video out," and that's going to trigger a notification to a person's cell phone if they have the YouTube app downloaded. And of course, all your hardcore guys have it. So I'm making sure that I get all the information I can to my hardcore guys, so they'll stay hardcore, and they're my critical mass for getting the algorithm running on any video that I publish.
Mhm. Brilliant. Yeah, and the power of a dedicated audience is not to be understated here. I think a lot of people they can get caught up in getting the biggest audience possible as fast as possible. And it is important to get your channel out to as many people as possible, but really at the end of the day, I think true success on YouTube comes from having a dedicated community and having these, as you put it, hardcore viewers who are watching at least every other video, who on some level connect with, in this case, Rob and you on a personal level. and that isn't the easiest thing to build. But I'd say it's kind of it's really the core of a channel. If you have like a billion fair weather fans, they're one going to be less likely to show up every time, and you're going to get caught up in having to follow trends every time. You're going to end up spending a lot of time and effort trying to follow keywords and trying to hit trends while they're happening. And maybe in woodworking, trends aren't as important as, say, the realm I come from, which is video games. But when you have this dedicated audience, it just makes your life so much easier. And especially with your guys' business model, where you're selling woodworking tools, people are in order to get people to buy things, or to get them even interested in that, they need to feel some level of trust. Like, why should they spend any money, let alone enough for a woodworking tool? Yeah, you really need a dedicated audience for that.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you said. I'll add one thing on that. The other piece of that is your presence on the video. And again, I'm the niche that I'm in is woodworking. It's always Rob Cosman, and he's in a teaching mode on every video of some point. So, it's his personality that we're also selling, and he has a unique teaching style that is very non-scripted. In fact, when I write a script for each video, and I call it a script, but it's really more. It's better to be called an outline, because he's a master. I don't need to teach him. I don't need to tell him how to cut a dovetail. I just need to kind of I just need to kind of say, okay, do the first 15 seconds, and then here do the opening. And I know the steps to cutting the dovetail, so I'll say, okay, teach step one now, then move to two, three, four, and five. But it all, when you watch the video, you'll see that it's not a scripted video. It's flowing very naturally, and he has a very good presence, and it's a presence that you like. It's just like, wow, this guy's teaching. He sounds trustworthy. And here's another one. If he does a mistake, which he does, we don't cut the mistake out of the video. He'll say, "Oh, I made this mistake." Okay, if you make this mistake, this is how you correct it. So it doesn't the videos don't feel super polished like it's Hollywood quality. It's like you can get exactly what you said because you're building trust. So once I get trust and I say, listen, this saw is really the best saw, you ought to go get it, then you're more likely to get people to go get that saw.
Hmm. Makes sense to me. So we're kind of nearing the end here. This is the point where I like to ask a kind of big question. What is your biggest piece of advice for succeeding on YouTube? Like, what is the one thing that you think is the most important for making a channel take off?
Oh, that's a tough question because I want you to give me three. But I would say, even today, it is consistent publishing of videos. We attempt to publish uh, two a week, and we don't hit that all the time, but at least one a week. So, especially if you're starting out, you've got to consistently publish because you've got to build up videos. You've got to get them out there. As you start to get loyal listeners, they expect those videos to come out. I mean, uh, a lot of people think YouTube is easy because you just make a video and stick it out there and people will watch it. Well, if you want a sustained channel, you've got to do everything we've talked about, and you've got to be willing to publish regularly. And I would say at least once every 2 weeks, but once every week is the best.
Hmm. Totally agree. Yeah, consistency is really it's the word of the hour. Usually when I ask that question, that's probably the most popular answer for good reason. It's just you can do everything right, but if you aren't infiltrating the system, so to speak, if you're not putting out a bunch of content, you're just I don't know, you're less likely to succeed. So yeah, once a week at least, twice a week ideally. That tends to be kind of the magic number for releasing on YouTube. Absolutely. Hmm. And yeah, so now that we're at this point, why don't you do all the cool plugs? I know we talked basically where to find you, but why don't you go ahead and remind people where they can find you and Rob?
Yeah, well, it's really easy. Our both our YouTube channel and our Shopify e-commerce channel are both named the same thing. That's there's a reason for that, and it's robcosman.com. So you can find our YouTube channel, look for robcosman.com, or look for those purple thumbnails, or you can go to our webpage, which is robcosman.com, and you can see all of our tools that we have for sale.
Hmm. Right on. Well, there you go, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me, Luther. I learned a lot today, and clearly you're a wealth of knowledge with YouTube and building businesses, and I'm happy to have spoken to you today.
Yeah, it's great speaking to you, Grant. Thanks for inviting me on.
Hmm. Yeah, likewise. And with that, I will see you, sweet audience viewer, in the next one. Bye, everybody.